Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shah. Tamil Nadu's opposition parties, the AIADMK and the BJP, they will jointly contest the 2026 state elections under the leadership of the former Chief Minister, EPS, Edapadi Palaniswamy. Now, the Union Home Minister, Amit Shah, he conducted a press conference and this is where he announced this. In fact, the Tewar leader, Nagendran, is said to be the Tamil Nadu BJP chief. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister, he posted on his social media welcoming AIADMK to the NDA and added that it was important to uproot what he claimed was a corrupt DMK government.
आज AIADMK और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेताओं ने मिलकर तय किया है कि आने वाला तमिलनाडु विधानसभा चुनाव AIADMK, भारतीय जनता पार्टी और सभी साथी दल मिलकर NDA के नाते लड़ेंगे.
இன்னும் கூட மக்கள் படுற துன்பங்களை பத்தி நம்ம முதலமைச்சர் இன்னும் அவருக்கு யாருமே சொல்ல மாட்டேன்றாங்க. எந்த மக்களும் அடுத்த திமுக தான் ஆளணும்னு யாரு சாதாரண மாணவர்களிருந்து அரசு ஊழியர்லேருந்து அடிப்படை பணியாளர் வரை அத்தனை பேருமே மருத்துவர்கள் எத்தனை பேருமே இன்னைக்கு கிராமங்களில் இருக்க அத்தனை பேருமே இந்த ஆட்சி வரக்கூடாது, இதுக்கு மாற்று சக்தி எடப்பாடியார் தான், ஏன்னா நமக்கானவர் நமக்குள்ள ஒருவர் அப்படின்னு தான் நினைக்கிறாங்க. இது நம்ம முதலமைச்சருக்கு தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது. அதனால எங்க போனாலும் பார்த்தா சரி 200 தொகுதின்னு சொல்லிக்கிட்டே கிளிப்பில்ல சொல்ற மாதிரி சொல்லிக்கிட்டே இருக்காரு.
So it is Mr. Edapadi Palaniswamy who has to explain now what his stand. So now that the Home Minister will be going back and he will be able to speak to the press. I hope they give him the permission to speak to the press. Then I'm sure he can explain now what has changed, what has not changed. Because just a few days ago we heard him saying that he stands with the minorities and he opposes the work bill. And today he has to explain to the minorities of the state what their stand is.
They are taking up the issue of corruption, women's safety, law and order, and Dalit atrocity, as they call it, as their key issue, turning the heat on the ruling DMK in Tamil Nadu. And they say that they will take up the issues of the common man and that will strike a chord with the masses, they hope. But on issues of popular demand, be it the NEET exception or be it the 3-language policy which the state opposes or delimitation, on these issues the BJP doesn't seem to budge at all, no concession in that case. And AIADMK too, they say, has given unconditional support. And these are challenges, but the alliance, the AIADMK-BJP Alliance hopes that the issues they take up with the people will work and will work in their favor. But a challenge for them could be, number one, when there is a BJP in your alliance, generally in Tamil Nadu, minorities tend to vote against them. And that's one thing they have to work to address their concerns. And secondly, AIADMK is not the same stronger party as it used to be with Jayalalitha. It's a weakened force. It has been witnessing 3 successive defeats. It's a divided house with Sasikala, Dinakaran and O. Pannirselvam all fighting separately. So how will they make sure that the votes will not be split as an umbrella under the NDA? Those could be challenges. But both from what the Prime Minister and Amit Shah have said, they seem to be optimistic. There is 1 year time. But in terms of the alliance arithmetic, it's still not a match for the formidable alliance of the present ruling DMK.
A political storm has brewed around Kesari 2, a film starring Akshay Kumar as C. Sankaran Nair, a nationalist icon who challenged the British rule through legal battles, notably over the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Now, this movie has sparked a row with the BJP slamming the Congress for allegedly sidelining Nair's legacy, while Congress leader Shashi Tharoor, he has lauded Akshay Kumar for bringing the story to light, arguing that Nair deserves greater recognition.
Joining me now is Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Member of Parliament, in fact, 4-term Member of Parliament of Thiruvananthapuram. Dr. Thiru, really appreciate your time. You have put out a tweet. In fact, you're remembering your 2018 engagement that you had. And you say that you believe that the makers of Kesari Chapter 2 should be lauded for making a film which will bring the story of C. Sankaran Nair to the big screen. Did the first Malayali president of the Congress not get his due? And why do you think his legacy must be remembered, sir?
Well, first of all, the nationalist movement had an awful lot of people contributing to it, and Sir Chetu Shankaran Nair was one of the early ones. In 1897, he was president of the Congress, but subsequently he joined the government, the British government. It was an interesting relationship because he was very much a believer in legal constitutional means of achieving independence. He was a fierce nationalist. His presidential address in 1897 was a condemnation of colonial rule and a demand for Indians to be associated with the administration and for dominion status, which in those days was a fairly major demand. But then he went and worked within the existing system because as a lawyer, as a constitutionalist, he wanted to change the system from within. And during the time that he was not in active politics, he rose to the extraordinarily high position of the Viceroy's Executive Council, where he was de facto the Minister of Education for the whole of India. That was the job he had. But when Jallianwala Bagh happened, he was extremely upset. He resigned in protest and he wrote condemning what the British had done, rightly so. And then he got sued by the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, Michael Adwaya, for libel, and in the end, it went all the way up to the Privy Council, and Sir Chetu Shankaran Nair lost the case. Now, all of this is the history, and he passed away by the early 1930s, so well before independence. And if you were to say that he's been forgotten, I would say not in Kerala. But if you look at the fact that there were presidents every year for the Congress from 1885 right up to 1939, there was a different president every year, then you can ask yourself, is it that surprising perhaps that no individual president is remembered the same way? And I'm very much willing to applaud any filmmaker or other writer or whatever who will bring these forgotten heroes back to life. Our freedom struggle involved a lot of great people, and we should remember and honor as many of them as often as we can.
There is this sense, and many, say that Congress suffers from some kind of historical amnesia. In fact, the Kerala BJP chief, who also contested against you from Thiruvananthapuram, says that this is another example of Congress airbrushing leaders from its history. And then he has given some examples.
Look, I've not seen his tweet, but all I can say is that as far as I'm concerned, I was very conscious of the history. And when I addressed that gathering, there were others on stage with me and there were people in the audience, and we were all conscious of the history, or we wouldn't have been there. So it's one good thing about history is there's no such thing as one version of history. There are often very competing versions. We are having quarrels these days about history, about Aurangzeb and about the legacy of many of the events of the past. People will have contested views about history. That's normal, Maria. That's what happens in a country that's apparently very conscious of its past. I feel we need to be more focused on the future, personally. Even though I'm an amateur historian and personally very fond of reading history, I fully understand that the job of political parties today is to focus on the future, and I make no apologies for the fact that we are more concerned about the well-being of people today and tomorrow than about what may or may not have happened 100 years ago. I remember this, this is all 1920s, late 1910s and early 1920s we're talking about.
And after days of scorching heat, the national capital and its adjoining areas have been witnessing a change in weather. Strong winds whipped up a dust storm in several parts of Delhi, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh. The gusty winds, they have also affected flight operations, with multiple flights flying to and from Delhi being diverted. Meanwhile, in Gurugram, an iron gate fell on a car that injured a driver.
पिछले कुछ दिनों से दिल्ली एनसीआर का जो इलाका है वो हीट वेव के संकट से जूझ रहा था, लेकिन शुक्रवार शाम को अचानक दिल्ली एनसीआर इलाके में अलग अलग जगहों पर कहीं धूल की आंधियां चलने लगी, कहीं तेज़ हवाएं चली, कहीं हल्की बारिश हुई तो कहीं ओलावृष्टि हुई और इसकी वजह से नुकसान की भी खबर अलग अलग इलाकों से है। कई जगहों पर मैंने देखा कि जो पेड़ हैं वो उखड़कर सड़क पर गिर गए हैं। ऐसी खबर दिल्ली के कई इलाकों से आई है जहां पर सैकड़ों पेड़ जो है वो उखड़ गए, हवाएं इतनी तेज़ थी। मौसम विभाग के मुताबिक सबसे ज़्यादा जो तेज़ हवाएं हैं वो नजफगढ़ इलाके में रिकॉर्ड की गई हैं, जहां उजवा जो एक लोकेलिटी है वहां पर 84 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे की रफ्तार से शाम 6:15 बजे हवाएं चली। इसी तरह इंदिरा गांधी इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट के आसपास के इलाकों में जो हवा की रफ्तार थी वो 74 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे तक पहुंच गई थी। विजिबिलिटी काफ़ी नीचे गिर गई क्योंकि धूल भरी जो आंधी थी वो हर तरफ चल रही थी, जिसकी वजह से कई फ्लाइट्स जो हैं उनको डाइवर्ट करना पड़ा, कुछ फ्लाइट्स कैंसिल भी की गई हैं। गुड़गांव में एक जगह पर जो NHAI का साइन बोर्ड था वो एक कार ड्राइवर पर गिरा, जिसकी वजह से वो घायल हो गया। नोएडा में एक इमारत है उसकी एक दीवार गिरने की खबर है। अभी तक जान माल का कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ है, लेकिन कुछ लोगों के घायल होने की खबर है। मौसम विभाग के मुताबिक इस वजह से जो तेज़ हवाएं चली, जो बारिश हुई, जो तूफान चली, उसकी वजह से जो तापमान है उसमें काफ़ी ज़्यादा गिरावट दर्ज हुई है। आज जो अधिकतम तापमान है 35 डिग्री सेल्सियस के आसपास तक गिरकर आज शाम को पहुंच गया और अगले 3 दिन तक जो वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस की वजह से दिल्ली में मौसम का मिजाज बदला है, उसकी वजह से अगले 3 दिन तक जो अधिकतम तापमान है वो औसत से 3 से 5 डिग्री सेल्सियस तक नीचे रहेगा और रात में भी पहले जिस तरह से न्यूनतम तापमान में बढ़ोतरी दर्ज की गई थी उससे आम लोगों को राहत ज़रूर मिलेगी। लेकिन 3 दिन बाद मौसम विभाग का पूर्वानुमान है कि मौसम जो है उसमें एक बार फिर बदलाव होगा और हीट वेव का जो संकट है वो एक बार फिर पूरे दिल्ली NCR इलाके में खड़ा हो सकता है। दिल्ली से हिमांशु शेखर, NDTV।
The National Investigation Agency began interrogating Tehvoor Hussain Rana, the key suspect in the 2008 Mumbai attacks after his extradition from the US. Now, Delhi court granted the NIA 18 days of custody to question him about the terror plot that killed 166 people. The NIA is focusing on uncovering details of Rana's alleged role, his communications and Pakistan's involvement.
Fresh images showing 2611 plotter Tehvoor Rana being handed over to Indian authorities by the United States. This as the Canadian-Pakistani businessman, a key conspirator in the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, sits inside a high-security cell at this Delhi office of India's premier anti-terror agency, the NIA.
Fresh interrogation and years-old indictment are now peeling back layers of one of the most high-profile cases in India.
Rana's extradition has once again put the spotlight on the role of Pakistan's ISI in orchestrating the 2008 siege of India's financial capital. The NIA says 64-year-old Rana worked with childhood friend David Coleman Headley, a US citizen of Pakistani origin, to support Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Pakistani terror group blamed for the assault.
In a statement, the US Department of Justice said that after the attacks were complete, Rana allegedly told Headley that the Indians deserved it. The US DOJ said in an intercepted conversation with Headley, Rana allegedly commended the 9 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists who were killed while carrying out the 2611 terror attacks in Mumbai.
In the first statement from the government, Home Minister Amit Shah said Rana's extradition was a big moment for India.
हमारी जस्टिस सिस्टम को हमारी न्याय व्यवस्था को उसे फेस करना होगा। महाराष्ट्र सरकार की ओर से और विशेष रूप से मुंबई पुलिस की ओर से एनआईए को जो भी इसमें आवश्यकता होगी वो सारी चीजें हम देंगे।
Some in the opposition said the UPA government also deserved to be congratulated for the extradition.
और भी अच्छा होता अगर अमेरिकी सरकार हेडली को भी भारत को सपोर्ट कर देती। हेडली को उन्होंने सपोर्ट नहीं किया, उन्होंने प्ली बार्गेनिंग करके हेडली को अमेरिकी जेलों में रखा है, जो पर्याप्त नहीं है।
2008 में होने के बाद 14 तक इनके सरकार थे, कुछ नहीं किया। मोदी सरकार डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशन में बहुत ही टैक्टफुली हैंडल करके उनको लाया है। अभी क्रेडिट लेने का बात कर रहे हैं।
Over the next few days, the NIA and Intelligence Bureau officials will interrogate Tahaur Rana to uncover the missing pieces of 2611 conspiracy. Eventually, a fresh charge sheet may be filed with more sections, some of which carry the death penalty. With Anushka and Saurabh, this is Radhika for NDTV.
The External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar stated that Rana's extradition, it is a significant step towards ensuring justice for the victims of the 2611 attacks. He appreciated the cooperation from the United States government in facilitating this extradition. Mr. Jaishankar also replied to the US Secretary of State expressing gratitude for their assistance in the extradition process. In Kolkata, thousands of sacked Bengal SSC teachers, they escalated their protests on Friday, marching to the School Service Commission office and launching a relay hunger strike. They're demanding reinstatement after the Supreme Court cancelled 26,000 jobs due to a recruitment scam. Now, clashes with the police and political blame game continues with no resolution in sight for the embattled educators.
Despair, rage and demand for justice echoes as aggrieved teachers hit the streets in Kolkata, escalating their fight against the West Bengal government. Pushed out of classrooms, over 25,000 teaching and non-teaching staff are left in the lurch as the West Bengal government prepares to file a review petition against the 3rd April Apex Court verdict. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has assured the teachers that not a single teacher appointed fairly will lose his or her job.
So you are assured that you can differentiate between tainted and non-tainted candidates who
100%. SSC already identified it, and they will upload it in the consultation of their lawyer.
But those who have been left jobless are not convinced, blaming the deep-rooted corruption within the government for their ill fate.
अगर ये सरकार फिर से एग्ज़ाम लेगा तो उस एग्ज़ाम में कोई करप्शन नहीं होगा, इसका हमको कोई गारंटी नहीं मिल रहा है कि फिर से कोई कुछ नहीं करेगा, फिर से हमारा नौकरी रहेगा। हमारा जो ओएमएस सीट है वो सारे के सारे बच्चों का ओएमएस सीट को बाहर निकाल के उसी में से रीपैनल करना, यही हमारा मुख्य जो दावी है यहाँ पे, वो लेके हम यहाँ पे आए हैं।
ये जो सरकार भी है ये तो एक चोट सरकार है, ये तो घूस लेकर सबको नौकरी दिलाया है, तो इसके लिए जमींदार सब है। पूरा हम कहना चाहते हैं कि टोटल पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, गवर्नमेंट सब चोर है, सब लोग इसके लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है। आज
करप्शन के लिए ये जो एसएससी है, ये जो परिषद है, ये जो गवर्नमेंट का जो तरीका सिस्टम है, वो सब लोग इसके लिए जिम्मेदार है।
These teachers now here in Kolkata are sitting on the road outside the SSC office through which they were recruited, demanding transparency and accountability. But more importantly, this is going to be a fresh challenge for the Mamata Banerjee government to reassure the teachers that their jobs will not be snatched. But how will she handle that? Only time will tell. With GD Shankar, Shreyashi De for NDTV.
Welcome back. News now from Karnataka. In Bengaluru, a shameful act of moral policing erupted as 5 thugs, including a minor, viciously harassed and assaulted a couple for simply sitting together in Suvarna Layout Park. This outrageous violation of personal freedom has sparked fury. The Chandra Layout police nabbed the culprits, whose names are Mahim Afridi, Wasim Anjum, and there's also a juvenile.
In another case of assault on an interfaith couple, a young man was attacked and abused by 5 men when he was found sitting outside a park on his bike with a girl from a different faith. The girl wasn't spared either. She was surrounded and questioned as to why she was with the man. The police have now arrested 5 accused in the case, including a minor. Despite the physical assault being caught on camera, the police claim this was no violent incident. Minister Priyank Kharge told NDTV that they will not tolerate such vigilante acts from any community in a progressive state like Karnataka.
Nobody can take the law of the land into their hands, whether moral policing or anything else. This is not a UP or a Bihar or a Madhya Pradesh. We are a progressive state and we will not allow such mindsets to creep in.
Over the last few days, we've seen multiple crimes in the city of Bengaluru, be it the rape of a young woman and then a molestation case where the accused is still absconding, and now this case of moral policing. Definitely there seems to be a need for strong policing in the state, but instead we are looking at some loose comments that are coming in from our politicians and the officers involved. At this point in time, while the tug-of-war between the Congress and the BJP and the blame game definitely continues, it seems like ensuring such crimes do not happen is the need of the hour. With video journalist Govind, this is Deepak Bopana for NDTV.
India has successfully conducted trials of a long-range glide bomb which was dropped from a Su-30 fighter bomber of the Indian Air Force. The 1,000-pound glide bomb hits targets with pinpoint accuracy. The Gaurav glide bomb has been designed and developed indigenously by entities linked to the DRDO. The Gaurav weapon hits targets close to 100 kilometers away. Adani Defence Systems, Bharat Force and various mediums and small-scale industries have been involved in the development of this weapon. A small plane crashed near Boca Raton Airport in Florida, killing 3 people. The Cessna 310R went down around 10:30 a.m., striking a car and sparking fire. The crash occurred near the intersection of a military trail. As per flight radar, the plane was in air for 20 minutes before it crashed. The US Vice President J.D. Vance is reportedly expected to make an official visit to India from April 21st till April 24th. Vance's visit could take place as New Delhi looks to finalize a bilateral trade agreement with the United States. President Donald Trump, India and the United States, they have reportedly finalized terms of reference for talks over the first part of a bilateral trade deal, and a win-win deal could take shape in the next 90 days. Time now for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.